Declan, delighted to be here this afternoon. We've talked before. I have watched your Claude's Christmas initiative from afar. I just really today have an opportunity to explore how it started.
My mum had died in November 1988, and for a while after that, with this business, I think opened, just 1999 or 2000. For a few years after my mum had passed, to be honest with you, Christmas was never a massively, an unhappy time, but just a time where I was kind of vacant, to say the least. That I was there in body, but maybe in mind somewhere else completely. And I got talking to my cousin, Dermot O'Donnell. I had said to him, and he is a really nice person, very unlike me, a really really holy, really spiritual, really nice guy. And so I had said to him, I want to be somewhere else. I want to be, kind of, and I think that's kind of back then, it was kind of really like that. And I said, I really want to do something positive. I want to try and do something. How about? And I don't know what or how the notion came into my head, and it was about doing something here. I think it's probably about 25 years ago, or the best part of, because it's kind of when we first started here, and I had something like a premises, and it was great because we had somewhere to go, and it was mine, and it was something that we could actually call time on whenever we wanted to. We could you weren't worried about it was somebody else's premises and overstaying your welcome or making a mess. And that's where it was born. At the time, I think we had put it out there, and we had, again, pure chance and pure luck that there were some displaced people. There was a few at the first one, a few refugees at that, even back then, it was really brand new. And very sad cases as well of maybe some domestic violence where women we worked very closely and have grown a real close link and bonds with, like Floyd Women's Aid, the Simon Community, all these different statutory organisations. Age Concern's another one. And so at the time, I think we had about 25, 30 people in our first Christmas Day event here. Yeah. And it was fabulous.
And so the people then that are benefiting from this, whether it's here, whether it's in their own home, typically they're isolated, or they're from whatever circumstance.
Do you remember the famous ad? I think was it John Lewis had done it about the old guy in the moon who was and it was about a lonely sort of aspect in terms of people have a mistaken belief, and they call it you're the guy who helps out the homeless people at Christmas. Whilst it was there is an element of something in that, it's really and truly not about that. People might be surprised to know that certainly people come to the City Hotel. I've been talking to a great many of them who would come in here and would spend and buy and whatever. They're not homeless. They have money, but they're extremely lonely, and they have somehow managed not to be with their family for whatever reason. We started this off, and the spiritual guy, I'll try and remember his thing because he puts it into most conversations we have about the giver being the receiver. And I think essentially, look, that is it, right? That people through money or time, or I say to people, just come along. We have the police that actually help out on Christmas Day. I couldn't even begin to tell you the amount of sort of these shoots. I was saying to you before, so our volunteers, I think, number is certainly in excess of 100 now. So we have, in fact, I've got about 20 or so in and around the kitchen, another 10 or 20 in the dining room, because this is now, last year we had 500 and something, nearly 600 meals being delivered out to the community. And now we have the capacity. So in here we had a capacity for about 40 people, and we were doing a lot of deliveries out, and we were having the maximum amount of people in here. But when we had our number, we added on some to saturation point before we then said we will deliver stuff out, but we don't have any more capacity from here. We don't have that in the City Hotel, but last year in the City Hotel we booked out the entire restaurant. People have actually befriended these people who they went out to, and now we'll still see them. So I only see these guys once a year, and I say, I was talking to Declan there the other day, and I said, who's Declan? The guy that I was away to last year, and if he's around, maybe I'll do this time as well. So, and they would keep in touch with them, they would keep tabs on them, and they would maybe call them every so often and whatever else. And they would feedback to us, and they'd say, look, I'm using my own name, but they'll say Declan's house felt a bit cold or whatever else, and I said, you know what, I might get a wee delivery or a wee couple of vouchers for home eating oil. We have friends everywhere.
Wow, that's amazing.
Who do crazy stuff. So I like to keep friends in taxis, oil deliveries, or shops, whatever, so that I can just
We all
make a
need
wee
friends
call.
like that.
And nobody wants to be my friend, right? But I all want to be theirs. So I'll make a little call and say, listen, do you mind if we get some oil vouchers, or gas vouchers, or whatever? A lot of people hate to see November ending. I know people in organisations like, say Boots or bigger shops, Marks and Spencers. I nab the manager for their discount, not the staff, but the manager's discount. And so I'll say, listen, we'll buy X, but can we have all your discount, and can we get the best Black Friday price you're going to give us? And so we really kind of want it for nothing, but we are prepared to pay. And so what we will do is, the centre will give us voucher. We've talked to various centres. For instance, we don't pay for a stick of food. So this thing is all made in that. All my suppliers. So my food supplier will give us a turkey and ham. My veg supplier will give us all the veg. Our Henderson's food service will, I'm going to tell them they need to up their ante a bit, because they will give us some cakes, but I want them all. So we are spending a wee bit of money on some desserts.
Okay.
I don't like doing that. I'd like to say I have it all for nothing. But literally 95% of our food is free of charge, and it's from suppliers who are willing to come on board and partner with us. This isn't 30 and 40 anymore. This is 600 and 700 meals. I will talk to our packaging company, and guess what? I'll be asking for the packaging for free, for it to be packed off for the stuff we're delivering. And then I have friends who, to be honest with you, I probably don't, they call me now. I don't even need to call them. But there's a lot of money that comes in, and we're trusted with it, because there's lots of businesses that help us. And I wouldn't betray confidence. We keep a list, and if anybody ever wanted to see the exhaustive list of businesses, apart from our volunteers, which are one section, our business community is fabulous. And I honestly think that we all live in a very unique place, because I honestly have never seen, and I know you have to be submerged in your sort of local community to see what actually goes on, but I've talked to people who are just blown away by how good dairy people, dairy businesses, and whatever back us, because the selection box is like a wee data into the bag for gifts, and we have 700 to get this year. Whatever, I think 700 is my figure this year. Probably roughly the same last year. I had them in like about 2 days. I thought this is gonna be a big ask, because 600 selection box is gonna be a tight ask. And I just put a post out on Facebook, and it was like, honestly, it was like a film, like a Jim Carrey, like sort of whatever it was, liar, liar, he answers all the prayers, delete. I've never put up something that has never come. And I've never needed to go and ask now at all for cash, because I think that people will just come in and know what we're doing, and they'll just send me a message saying 2 things. Are you still doing it? And are the bank account details we have for you still right?
Wow.
And I'll say yes to both.
So it's going back to that cultivating compassion, isn't it? One act inspires another act. But you said now, I know that you're not, it's grown over the number of years, but that wasn't the ultimate aim, and it's because you want to keep it, the ethos with it, as it was, where its origins are. But it's really maybe trying to inspire other like initiatives, or just somewhere, of inspiring somebody, if they see a need.
Yeah.
See how they can address it.
Yeah.
Like you did.
Yeah.
And the need originally was with you.
Is her. I make peace with it. I've thought about this long and hard for many years, and now I'm out the other side. I'm now guilt-free again, because I will say it is selfish. But I think if you do something for whatever reason you do it, if there's a net benefit to the end user, a net benefit to you, because you want to help, and I want to be somewhere else, and if everybody's gaining and there's a positive. Now that's me being a bit smart about sort of why or how we've got to the point where we are. But I would say that if everybody does a small piece, you're quite right, and I think people want to help. And it's back to what you said, right? That's very much how I subscribe to, is that sort of compassionate thing, in terms of, why not me? Why wouldn't it be me? If I've got a place and I've got the time and I have some money now and I'm less fixated about business at the start, I can understand. We were trying to make this place grow as well. I believe now this could work without me. I necessarily don't want it to, and I would be delighted to hand it over to somebody else. We put this out years ago, that somebody might take up the mantra of doing this before we come on to the City Hotel, before we hit the Waterford or on board wherever else, and take it to their place and say, listen, I'm not naming different restaurants or places around town, there's lots of them with decent capacity, good kitchens, way more than we would have. And I said, listen, I'll bring a team of people, we will come in and we will, work and transition yous. If you want to try and do it, come on board, work with us, and then we'll work with yous, and then we'll ask you offside the stage, and then we'll put it out there, does anybody else want to do this? And yous can do the same thing, and we'll all take this kind of cycling effect, this chain reaction. No, I wouldn't say that got great traction. Maybe it was me that didn't market it well, but it didn't. That kind of, I would still be delighted if somebody said to me, "We would like to come in and work with you." I am protective probably of this because I do think that there's. Do you know what? It's great fun. It's great crack. It can be stressful in the background sometimes. Organising 600 or 700 of anything, like with whenever it might be with guests or people or transport and this and that calls. And the one worst case scenario is that somebody's left without a dinner. It sounds as if it might be easy to hand over, but there is a lot.
There's
of
a
work.
journey.
What we're doing is just fine in that I could dip out of it, and although that people might argue the kitchen might be better and not worse if I left, but whatever. We have the capacity that we can dip out and in now. Handing this entire thing over in its form right now would be a task, a challenge for anybody. Something I would be a wee bit sketchy about because it's. There's so many facets to it. There's so many sort of, you're talking about sort of protection, child protection. You're talking about, vulnerable adults. You're talking about putting people together. You're talking about food, health, and hygiene. And it's not just one thing. It's everything.
It's everything. You're not about to hang up that apron yet.
No, not yet. Not quite yet. No, a couple of years left in me yet, I would say.
Well, thank you so much, Declan. That has been truly insightful. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
Excellent.